Welcome back to Houston, Texas, and BBVA Compass Stadium. The United States women's national team and Russia continue to battle it out. My partner Julie Foudy yesterday sat down with 6 U.S. national team players to talk about the collective bargaining agreement.
First off, congrats.
Thank you.
How did you celebrate the moment?
It was just like one of those moments where we were like, is this real?
Oh my God.
We're like,
You know, we did one of those like jumping hugs.
It
was a big love fest.
This is good.
I know there was a real effort to think beyond just this current group, of course. How did that come about?
We came together and had so many workshops about like what's the vision for not only this PA but for women's soccer in general. And so we knew that going into this, we weren't just looking out for the best interests of the players in the room, but for that next set of players and the next set of players. And so we always had to go back to that. It's like, what will make this program the best it can be 20 years down the road, 50 years down the road?
What people may not understand is how involved you all were in the process.
Mm-hmm. Everyone played their part. People had different ideas and opinions of what they prioritized in the upcoming CBA and what they wanted to push. So it was a huge team effort.
Favorite story from all the negotiations from the last year?
I think the dynamic between the players and the federation has been such that they sort of dictate what the terms of the contract are going to be. So I felt this time there were so many times where we were just like, nope, that's not happening. Like, that is not what we want. That's not what we deserve. We're standing strong in this. We're standing firm as a team, and sort of being able to go back as a group and being like, yes, we are unified on this, and being like, no, we deserve better. Those little moments kind of stand out to me.
What'd you learn about each other?
That really brilliant women on this team. Mm-hmm. Brilliant women.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously everyone knows people, if you're a part of this team, you're dedicated, but it's not just to the on-field performance, it's to everything. The dedication was pretty incredible to see.
USA Hockey, of course, stood up to its federation.
And they won.
And then they won. Is this a start to a movement, you think?
I think we're in the middle of the movement, really. I think that we can look back at things in our past and kind of know that we've piggybacked off that or gained momentum from that. I think that just in general, women are sick and tired of coming second all the time and being sort of pushed aside.
What is a message you would tell a female athlete in whatever corner of the world who may be fighting for just a right to play?
I would say that if you're not happy with status quo, you need to come together, you need to be united, and you just need to keep fighting. One voice is strong, and if you're united, the message will carry.
How about some ESPNW stories? U.S. Soccer ratifying the new collective bargaining agreement with the players. The WNBA draft week, and then, well, this doesn't happen much in college sports, a rare two-sport phenomenon, Kenzie Kent. Stay with us here. When we come back, Julie Foudy and I will break down the first half highlights from Houston. Texas here at halftime. It is a 4-1 lead as you look at the downtown skyline here. The U.S. over Russia here. And it seems Glenn Davis alongside Julie Foudy that the U.S. have just carried on from Frisco, Texas 4 days ago.
Yeah, and at the beginning of that half, it was a compact Russian defense. You can see the fatigue, though, as that half wore on. The gaps are opening up. U.S. taking advantage of that clearly in the first half.
Let's take a look at first half highlights here. And they get their first goal off sheer effort here.
Yes, a little bit sloppy, but Casey Short making the effort, Dunn getting in. And then, of course, you would bet from the spot on Carly Lloyd to finish that. And that kind of broke open the game a little bit for the United States. And then look at this ball in from Mallory Pugh into Rose Lavelle, the 18-year-old to the 21-year-old who just calmly puts it near post. And there is Rose Lavelle showing what she can do with the U.S. jersey on. And again, Carly Lloyd in that space, Klingenberg getting wide, finding Dunn for the easy goal. But Rose Lavelle, by the way, the first University of Wisconsin alum to score, Glenn Davis.
And her first ever goal for the national team. We'll come back to Houston. More to come on ESPN. U.S. 4, Russia 1. There's the mayor, Sylvester Turner. And some of these cars, unbelievable. But a little lowrider action down
Is
here
that
in
your
Houston,
car,
Julie.
Glenn?
They got that one out of my garage. Now that's mine right there.
Nice. Aw,
The Bumblebee.
that's classic.
Just thousands of people lining the
Magic
streets
carpet
of
ride.
Houston.
Oh, I was going to say, where's my favorite?
And that one's homage to all the bass fishermen in Texas.
Nice. That's yours.
Lots of fun in downtown,
For
and it's
sure.
lots of fun here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Russia in red, the United States in white. Second half about to get underway. Rose Lavelle scoring her first ever goal for the United States. A memorable day for her already. And it's game on here. Your referee is Karen Apt. The second half, if you're in the United States, what are you looking for, Julie?
I think more pace, more mobility. It's easy to get lulled in with the heat and with the compact style of Russia to say, okay, let's keep the ball moving. One of the things Jill Ellis talked a lot about yesterday was that mobility in front of the ball, off the ball.
It's one of the challenges here not to play down to Russia, and that's not being disrespectful to Russia, but there is a gap and a void between the number 25 team in the world and the number 2 team in the world as we look at first half stats.
Absolutely. And when you sit with that much possession as well, it's easy to go backwards because that's where the space is.
Casey Short already in the second half here. Mallory Pugh pushing high. Klingenberg knocks it inside. Here's Allie Long. Short's ball's going to get cut out. Russia has made 3 changes here in the second half. Katerina Morozova has come on. In the left back position. Postdiva has come on, number 16, as well as Lazareva, number 5. So Russia's made 3 changes. And we would expect a number of changes at some point from the United States, but Jill Ellis keeping the same complement out here to start the second half, Julie. Offside flag is up on the goal scorer, Karpova. 5th goal for Karpova in only her 11th appearance. Scoring from the penalty spot. As Klingenberg switches it now to Sauerbrunn. Sauerbrunn just such an outstanding leader at the back for the United States. Here's Carly Lloyd. Long now. Mallory Pugh is going to get there first. Dunn is getting it to the box. Crystal Dunn has scored. Sweeps it in with her left foot. It is now 5-1 the United States. Dunn will pick up a second here today. Mallory Pugh, the architect.
Nice little ball in to get in behind, and Pugh with the pace to get in behind. And that was the thing missing a little bit in that first half, is that final ball. Pugh looking up, sliding it in, and she's going to get in all day on Russia in this second half. And where those runners are flying in.
Crystal Dunn has a pair of goals here today. She's got 10 goals in 9 overall matches in Texas, so she loves to play here in the Lone Star State. As Ashlyn Harris does well to get off her line, distributing now to O'Hara.
Karpova, though, for Russia, still's got an engine up there. She's been playing that lone striker this game.
A little bit of an edge, too. She's been pretty much on an island, just fruitlessly chasing balls knocked up forward to her against an amazing athlete in Casey Short, like right here. Short is going to win the header nicely to Mallory Pugh. And the debate rages on. Who's going to ultimately become the #1 for the United States in goal?
Jill mentioned to Ellis yesterday that she definitely is going to be giving multiple goalkeepers caps, not just starting to narrow down into one.
And again, the U.S. focusing on the 2019 Women's World Cup, and then the Olympics come a year later in 2020. So It is the time to experiment. It is the time to assess without the pressure of big competitions right around the corner. How much can you really learn today, Julie, from a game like this? 2 games like this.
That's a tough one. I mean,
sorry, I had to ask.
I know. It's hard because you clearly see there's just a talent gap, right? The U.S. is way above Russia, and especially physically as well. You're seeing Russia's going to fade in the second half, and so. But you also come off saying, okay, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to play this way against us, even in World Cup competitions, Olympic competitions. Teams that aren't as good are going to bunker in like this, and you take it as an opportunity to get better playing a compacted, condensed, bunkered defense. But would they prefer Germany, France, and England again? Absolutely.
Allie Long has won it in a good area. Lloyd to her right now. Long towards Crystal Dunn, who might not have expected that. Probably should have been. As Long looked off the run of Carly Lloyd. Here's Sauerbrunn now. Has not scored for the U.S. in all these games that she's played for them. Well over 100 caps, the All-American from the University of Virginia. 11 years ago, Becky Sauerbrunn picked up her first cap against Canada. Lloyd will try a little chipped ball that'll go wide. Our next MLS match on ESPN is Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Will be at Talon Energy Stadium in Philadelphia for the Union taking on David Villa and the New York City FC. MLS Special Edition presented by Audi. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. And don't forget, coming up next, Eastern Conference clash between Kyle Larin and Orlando City and Bradley Wright Phillips and the Red Bulls. MLS Soccer Sunday presented by Audi, also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. We'll be heading down to Orlando. Call on that, Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman. Of course, there was big news, Julie, that Marta is going to join the Orlando Pride of the
Great
NWSL
news.
alongside Alex Morgan down there. Lots of things happening in Orlando soccer-wise. MLS and NWSL-wise.
Great fan base down there, too.
New national TV package for the NWSL with Lifetime. New York Flash becomes the North Carolina Courage after winning the title last year, and then internationals joining NWSL. There's so much going on. Marta to Orlando
huge
and
names.
Henri to Portland.
Yeah, and people know Marta, of course, but Henri is a great addition to Portland. What a wonderful midfielder. And Orlando, of course, having that Brazilian connection with their ownership and CEO.
We'll be able to watch Rose Lavelle with the Boston Breakers trying to bring a revival into that market. And here is Lavelle. She'll run over it. It's knifed in there by Mewis, who, boy, slipped a hard ball along the ground to Lloyd, who was making an angled run. And here we go. Substitution time, and a number of huge names coming on here for the United States. Megan Oyster's going to get her second cap, but the familiarity of Alex Morgan and Kristen Press coming on. Carly Lloyd is going to go off. Here in Houston, to huge applause, the two-time FIFA Women's World Cup Women's Player of the Year. Big shouts for Alex Morgan. Megan Oyster will pick up a second cap, and Rose Lavelle will go off. I'm sad Rose Lavelle's going off.
Don't be sad, Glenn. You'll see more of her.
Because Kristen Press is coming up. Press, a two-time NWSL first-team member. Appearing today for the 84th time. And another one out of Stanford.
Looks like Casey Short's going to pop out to that left back position with Oyster going centrally. So it's Klingenberg, Sauerbrunn, Oyster, and Short. Press just going a straight swap for Rose Lavelle, right midfield to right midfield. And Alex Morgan coming up front with Dunn.
And Dunn's going to earn a free kick. You and I had the pleasure of calling the NCAA Women's College Cup when Megan Oyster and UCLA won it in Cary, North Carolina, a couple years back. Mewis flips it in. The header, parried away. Getting on the end of it was the head ball animal, Allie Long.
That would have been her 6th goal, all from headers, and such a threat in these situations. For this reason, she gets so many on frame, so good in the air. Grichenko there with the save again, keeping Russia in this in the second half.
She's clearly been outstanding today for Russia, Grichenko. So playing short one. Here's Megan Klingenberg, who remains in. Drives a left-footed ball in. That took a deflection. It'll be another corner for the U.S. now in the 56th minute with a 5-1 lead over Russia.
Allie Long always, and Mewis, both of them on the line in front of the goalkeeper. Clear targets for the United States.
All driven in again. It's headed away by Russia now. Press trying to get there. Captain of the Chicago Red Stars, and she's another one that's going to be right here in Houston to start the NWSL season next Saturday. Red Stars and Dash, and games all over the country as the NWSL will finally get it going. Nakarenko is certainly giving it her all at the back here today. She must feel like she's playing against 13 players. But again, let's not demean what this means to Russia. This is a great opportunity for them to prepare for the European Championships in the Netherlands. It's Pugh here. And you can see what she's going to do. She's going to wrap her foot around it. And almost getting ahead on it was Alex Morgan. Beautiful delivery from Mallory Pugh.
What a nice ball in that is, because even if someone doesn't get a touch on it, that might be curling in right there. And all it takes is a little deflection, which is what Morgan is trying to do there.
What do you think goes on in the mind of Alex Morgan seeing Crystal Dunn and Carly Lloyd paired up front? I mean, it's competition time.
And I think it's quite a motivator, of course. She hasn't been getting the minutes that she typically was getting before.
I think that has a lot to do with her move to Lyon.
No, I think, you mean less minutes?
Oh, it's a good ball from Morgan. Trying to pick out Mallory Pugh. No, just to keep playing a little bit earlier, get over there, get more games, a different environment.
Oh, why she went to Lyon?
Yes.
I thought you meant less minutes.
Same reasons as Carly?
I think, yeah, they wanted a change of environment. I think it was a chance to say, and a chance to make a lot of money quickly, but also I think most importantly for them is that it's a chance to train differently.
Long was getting in there. It'll be a goal kick. It was the tackle there coming in from Katarina Morozova, the second half substitute.
Alex Morgan said at Lyon that literally when there's a national team call up, there's no players left to train at Lyon. Because not only do they have, of course, practically the entire French national team, but they've got players from all over the world, and really Klingenberg quipped, world's best 11 right there.
And
that's a great opportunity, because you're training every day against some of the best players in the world, and I think she saw that as here's an opportunity for me to learn.
Casey Short now is in that left back position. Julie pointed that out after playing as a center back in the first half, so that versatility is another piece to her game. Carly Lloyd said she thought she was going to have a bigger impact on the women's game by going overseas, going to Manchester City for a couple of months. She was quoted in an article saying that.
Well, and mind you, they're still growing the game so much for women in England and France and all of the countries really outside the United States, that the U.S. players are aware that the popularity here in the United States is not the same as it is in Europe and other countries.
Lewis, Klingenberg. Nice splitting pass there from Sauerbrunn to Ali Long now. She'll clip it over the top. Second ball is going to be picked up by Pugh, who's floated in central. Pugh and Lavelle throughout today before Lavelle went off. Sort of inverted, coming inside into great pockets of space, which, to your point of breaking down deep defending teams in the future, could be a real asset for the U.S.
I think the other challenge in a game like this that we used to always talk about when you're up quite a bit is not to get complacent. And to push the pace even as the game slows down, and the tendency is to want to do that.
Mallory Pugh off the corner now. Zonal marking here from Russia. Klingenberg is going to pick up the second ball here. Lets it go for a throw, and out comes Crystal Dunn, and she hits her feet. Dunn, oh, what a turn from Dunn. And a recovery from Russia, but it's last touched by the Russians. And number 5, Nazareva, and it'll lead to a corner for the U.S. here. 5-1 lead here, 61st minute. Press to the end line, crosses blocked, another corner for the U.S. Not to mention here, Tobin Heath is out with the back injury, Lindsey Horan with the hip flexor, Morgan Bryan with the knee, and then Julie Johnston off getting married. So there's another 4 players you throw into this mix. The competition is going to be heavy here the next couple of years.
Good problem to have.
So they call that a champagne problem. Russia here with one of their better buildups, but not able to help it on was Karpova, who just tried to help that ball on. Here's Ali Long now. Over the top is Morgan, which she's always a threat. Grichenko made the good decision to get off her line, couldn't hold it, and Russia will clear it. Did everything right, but couldn't hold it.
This is also going to be a great opportunity to look at the duo of Morgan and Dunn together. And there's Grichenko, who was positioned well to hold that, but just couldn't.
Oh, press and heavy traffic there. Tremendous skill to come out of that. Long. And it's overhit.
It's interesting talking to Crystal Dunn yesterday about playing higher, because she's played in so many different positions. She said, I've actually been playing in that number 9 up high for Chelsea, so it's the first time in like forever that I've had a couple months in the same position. And she said, I don't want to get too comfortable in it because I know it's going to change, but she said it's been nice.
Thursday, she had a little problem with the timing of her run. She seemed to have cleaned that up here today. It's been just causing all kinds of tormenting problems for the back line of Russia today. She's got 2 goals, Crystal Dunn. Elena Terahova about to come on. And off will come Katerina Pantakina. Press has gotten turned here. And it's broken up there by Belamitseva. Well, Jill Ellis has spoken about the fact that as she goes into almost completing her 3rd year as a national team coach, was asked yesterday what she learned, and she really went straight to player management and individual conversations with players, and that part of her job as a manager and a coach being more important now.
And I think it's the hardest part of managing for any coach.
It's not a bad looking ball here. Sharapova got a hit on it. Ewis would love to get one here. Ewis's shot is blocked off the half volley. Getting in front of it was Makarenko. Switch of play from Klingenberg to Short. Short will clip it to the back post. Press was pulling out. Fourth appearance, 41 goals for the U.S. national team. Kristen Press. More goals than her, Julie, for the national team than Kristen?
Do I have how
you
many
do.
did you just say? 40.
Who's got 41? Yeah.
I had to at least have like 400,
oh, yeah, you
right?
Did. You did.
I'm not 45. I'm told by Todd.
Kristen is
truck.
trying to
Todd,
run you
come
down.
on. I like the 400 number better. 45. She's 4 short of me. And it took me like 500 caps, and it took Press. How many was she at?
Kristen Press on 85th
85.
today.
Yeah, goal scoring rate's She's such a great finisher.
Look, when you guys were playing games like this, that there was a
This
gap
is why
in
I
talent.
retired from the national team. I couldn't handle any more games like this, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
how
like,
did you
I
keep
just want
yourselves?
Olympics and World Cups and forget these friendlies.
Yeah, how do you keep yourself
It's hard.
interested? And that's not being demeaning to Russia, but
No,
this is
it's
the fact
not.
and the reality.
No, and you know, and it actually gets a little frustrating because you're like, gosh, you want every game to be good, but there's just not that many teams still to this day that close that gap. And you would think, you know, 15 years later, been retired now 12 years, that gap would have closed for a lot more teams. And I think that's the frustration is there's not enough talent out there globally still. And mind you, they are getting better, and we're seeing the Frances and the Englands and the Germanys and Japan, of course. But to me, still, the growth for women's soccer is too slow. When you talk to their press officer, as we did yesterday for Russia, and I say, how popular is the women's game in Russia? And he says it's non-existent.
And he said it very
And
quickly. He didn't think about
it. Yeah, there's a few schools that play in Moscow, but it's really hard. They got to train with the boys, and it's, you know, girls just don't play.
Yeah. It's not organized like it is here in the United States. He said there were 2 to 3 bigger soccer schools, one of them in Krasnodar, which is a big soccer city, in Moscow, and then sort of several satellite schools. But, you know, the overall popularity, not even close to here in the United States. Dunn. Morgan got dumped off the ball. Mewis thinking about it. Plays a good ball out wide. Here's Klingenberg. She can whip it in now. Got a lot of players in the box. Took a slight deflection off Bella Mitseva.
And Press getting to that near post, wanting that ball in. She was looking for it. Just that little deflection caused some problems.
Scoring summer here today. It took the 20th minute penalty kick. That opened it up. And then 3 goals in a span of 7 minutes. Lavelle, Dunn, and then Karpova from the penalty spot. And the own goal from Kovalenko. And then in the second half, Crystal Dunn picking up her second only 3 minutes in. '69th minute here in Houston, Texas. Morgan to Dunn. Boy, and if you're Alex Morgan, like any striker, you want to come off the bench and score goals. Doesn't matter what game it is. You want to be on the score sheet.
Absolutely. When you know, too, how deep this team is with players up front. Press can play up there. You got Amy Rodriguez sitting on the bench there.
Long got out of there. Mallory Pugh zigging, zagging to the feet of Dunn. She'll get it over. Morgan trying to line the left foot up and spears it on the second attempt, and it's held by Grichenko. Mallory Pugh and Dunn setting up Alex Morgan.
Pugh again having her way on the outside there. Getting a second bite at that apple. Does well to put it on frame. Alex just not enough on it.
Last year, Mallory Pugh debuted against the Republic of Ireland. What a year she had. She had 12 starts in 2016 at Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Plays for Real Colorado, who, by the way, had 2 younger players added to this roster here. So what's out in the water there in Real Colorado? So Lauren Donaldson.
Yeah, Jalen Howell and Sophia Smith. 2 young players, 16 and 17 years old, brought in this week. They didn't suit up, but one of the 23 in camp. Had they suited up and played, they would have been the first players to be born after the World Cup, 99 World Cup, to play for the U.S. team.
Time flies. That's a beautifully, well, not beautifully weighted pass, but it was weighted in behind Russia, but diagonal run not there, as Grichenko certainly is going to leave here today holding her head high. And again, valuable experience for Russia. U.S. dominating the possession here. It's been all in the Russian half of the field. Pugh. Russia did go to the World University Games in Korea in 2015, came in second, as most of this team are students as well as playing in the Pro League. Switch of play in this one. Terahova brought it down. It's won back now by the United States. Megan Oyster comes out of there nicely. Gets her first good moment on the ball here. Tough day for defenders, Julie, because there's really not a lot of pressure. It's more about the mental side, isn't it? Pugh trying to pick out press.
Yeah, especially for someone like Ashlyn Harris as well, who's not getting many touches on the ball. Has done well to stay connected when she needs to be, though.
Now, you've been heavily involved with talking that wonderful piece at halftime about the collective bargaining agreement, and it's led to a lot of optimism now. Take us into that a little bit.
Yeah, it started so contentious too, which was the interesting thing is how that turned around. You know, over a year ago, they've been negotiating this for a year, and for them to turn around, and they said yesterday, which we didn't put in the piece, they said, look, we just realized it wasn't working that way, and that we need to live with U.S. soccer, and they need to live with us, and we're going to be together. And so we needed to change the tone, and so made a real conscious effort to make it more collaborative. And once they did that, they started having more success. But at the same time, not, as you heard Megan Rapinoe say in the piece, not giving in, right? They were going to stand strong and firm, but it was done in a more collaborative way. And I think that's a healthy approach, and it worked. And they're most pleased that it wasn't just about this current group, which is something that's near and dear to us old ladies on the team as well, that you're taking care of that next generation, which was always our mantra of, you know, it's a blank canvas. How do you make sure it's better for that next group coming in?
So interesting. Jane Campbell, who plays here in Houston for the Houston Dash, is going to come on for Ashlyn Harris. So this is her first cap for the United States, and this is a very big moment for her. Plays at Stanford, has been highly touted.
It's great.
Megan Rapinoe will come on as well. Mallory Pugh will go off. Great day for Mallory Pugh. And there is Campbell. And Lynn Williams for the 2-goal scorer, Crystal Dunn. Let's take a look back at Crystal Dunn's 2 goals here today.
Another active game for Crystal Dunn here. She's just getting wide open and in. Beats both Russian backs to that one. A ball in by Kling. And then on this side of things, a Pugh ball in. Dunn made that look easy, getting in that seam.
Nelly Korovkina has come on for Russia. Just getting back to what you said about the CBA, as you see Dunn today, just continuing to impress. How does that directly draw a line in a thread to Russia in their situation? Is that something that
Well, you're
can
seeing
create an uplifting factor in Russia.
And I think it does. It inspires other countries to say, okay, look at this is the standard for sure for other countries to look at, and not just clearly in soccer. I think what you saw happen with women's hockey this week, you saw the Irish women's soccer team standing up to their federation this week and getting a deal done. So sadly, it takes players having to say, hey, this isn't good enough and we need more support. I wish it was a more proactive situation with these federations. Don't get me started on that because I'll go for 2 days on it. But I think that's the message. If you stand together and are unified together, you can get and you can impact change. And that's what this women's team has done with this. And really engaged, rolled up their sleeves.
Rapinoe, Morgan, Terahova, cleared by Russia.
They said yesterday they just had no idea how much work it was going to be. They said, we're so pleased that we don't have to do that again for 5 years, but it was so important that they did get involved because they said they learned so much.
You can see the sense of relief on the players and even Jill Ellis, you know, now that this is all behind them and they can focus on the 2019 World Cup and what's in front of them. Here's Lynn Williams. It's been some dramatic moments here. Morgan's denied by Grichenko. The offside flag was up anyway, but still, it's more good goalkeeping from Julia Grichenko here today for Russia, denying Alex Morgan in that one-on-one situation.
And now with Lynn Williams as well, who fed that ball into Alex Morgan. Again, pace up front with those two. Lynn Williams having such a good season last year with her 11 goals, co-led the league with Kalia Ohai, who's also sitting on the bench here for the U.S. team. Ended up being the Golden Boot winner for the NWSL.
Won the title right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Well, in Orlando, it is coming up. It's Orlando City taking on the New York Red Bulls' Sasha Kleshchin. 34 assists since 2015, had 20 last year. Orlando City and the New York Red Bulls coming up at 4 Eastern time on ESPN. After this game, we'll throw you down to Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman for the call of that one. Long now. U.S. Trying to ride this one out, get some energy off a couple of subs coming off the bench here in the 77th minute with a 5-1 lead over Russia. Lynn Williams. Makarenko coming out of the middle to break that play up. She did have the game winner against Germany to start off the She Believes Cup, but nobody expected what would happen after that. The U.S. would get shut out twice. Historic win for England and a historic win for France. Shut out twice on home soil. That's going to always send shockwaves for the U.S. soccer faithful. But in the end, probably very healthy, according to Jill Ellis. Here's Lynn Williams. What a turn for press, swept away. Spectacular play in a tight area. Small window to get the shot off does, and it's an equally good save by Grichenko.
Press so good in these tight spaces. Just needs a little half window there. Creates it herself. Fakes like she's going to play wide. Nice little turn. Grichenko having a game, keeping this somewhat close, if you can call it that.
Boy, what a spectacular view that was from behind the goal, and what a beautiful turn. Off the corner it comes in, Grichenko. They're going to call, I believe, a foul on the United States here in front of Grichenko. Alex Morgan was right in the mix there. And just to go back to Alex Morgan and Carly Lloyd, they're going to square off in the UEFA Women's Champions League. Manchester City is going to play Lyon. That's got to find out where we're going to watch that.
I know.
Lyon and Morgan knocked out Wolfsburg in the quarterfinals in front of 14,000 fans. He's also teammates with Canada's Kadisha Buchanan on Lyon. Interesting. Bayern Munich Barcelona is the other semifinal, so it's interesting to see these world-renowned clubs now getting invested in the women's game. Sauerbrunn, Mewis, Lynn Williams. Long to Rapinoe. Rapinoe took up a nice area here. Rapinoe's shot is pulled wide. Got power on it. Accuracy didn't follow, but Megan Rapinoe trying to work her way back into it now, who has done so much for the U.S. women's national team over the years.
Good to see her back in as well. Still fighting to come back from that knee injury, surgery that happened before the Olympics. Jill Ellis has said just needs a few more games. She'll get those with the professional league starting next week. She said it feels great, though.
Well, those can be lonely times, as you know, when you're injured. It's hard to feel a part of the full complement of the group. Pino off the throw. Press came to her. Also get called for the foul on Ozdavia. Ozdavia appearing today for the 21st time for Russia. Terahova now has got some room to run with it. One of the more skilled Russian players coming on here in the second half. Switch of play, a little bit of space over here into the box. It comes Russia and Terahova trying to seal off that back post and get on the end of it. Couldn't, but that's probably one of the better Russian attacks here today.
Becky Sauerbrunn just unable to clear it there. This is a nice little ball in. Giving an early test for, trying to give an early test for Jane Campbell, who just came in off the bench. As you mentioned, Glenn playing here in Houston with the Dash, drafted by them, and her first cap for the U.S., which is great to see.
We also saw today Rose Lavelle get her first ever goal for the U.S. women's national team, so a lot of firsts. Lazareva now. Sauerbrunn is going to get there. Jill Ellis mentioning that after these matches, it's on to attending, evaluating, assessing, monitoring all the players with their clubs in the NWSL and overseas. Rapinoe to Williams, who's trying to spin off here. Just too much athleticism, but in the end can't get the delivery in, as Alex Morgan was hitting the 6-yard box. 83rd minute. Next up for the U.S., June 8th at Sweden, June 11th Norway. A little visit with Pia Sundhage, the former U.S. coach, and Sweden. And the U.S. has not beaten Sweden in 4 attempts,
amazing,
a loss and 3
it?
draws.
I know. Since Pia has been coach there. That will be a great test.
And again, Russia will start their European Championships July 17th. Terahova off the dribble. Here's Allie Long now. Getting ready to get going for the Portland Thorns. Rapinoe. Coming up, it's Orlando City SC taking on the New York Red Bulls down in Orlando, Florida. And one of the top strikers in all of Major League Soccer making a real name for himself, Kyle Larin, who's got 3 on the year here. MLS Soccer Sunday on ESPN, presented by Audi. And you will want to stay right here to see that one. New York Red Bulls little bit of soul searching after really getting pulled apart right here at BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston by the Houston Dynamo, who incidentally were knocked off by the New England Revolution yesterday. Rapinoe trying to get there, and off her line is Grichenko. And Marta now will be a part of the Orlando Pride. I know you're excited about that.
Yep, I think that's great. That fan base down there too is amazing. I love seeing those games and that energy.
Klingenberg flicks it to Williams. Williams has fought through it. Lynn Williams presses in the box. So is Morgan. It'll be a corner United States here. 86th minute. Williams, Morgan, press, all would love to hit the score sheet here today. Megan Rapinoe to take the corner of the Seattle Reign. That ACL tear in 2015, coming back from it. Drives it in towards the near post. Rapinoe tries it herself with the left foot, pulls it way behind the goal, and it'll be a goal kick.
She thinks, why not?
So many historic games for Megan Rapinoe. Played at the University of Portland. She's played in a Champions League final, as we were talking about that with Alex Morgan for Lyon. So those are two that have a French connection.
And I think if you're the United States, you obviously know this isn't the competition of what they had last month in the She Believes Cup. But you also think, okay, we got 9 goals as of right now on the board for these last 2 games. You got to run through a lot of different players. You got to see that partnership of Dunn and Lloyd up front.
And that one hit over the top, just taking a big swing at that was Holoviega.
You got to see Rose Lavelle, 2 youngsters, and Mallory Pugh play out wide. I mean, these are all good things that you look at if you're Jill Ellis and that team. You build on going now overseas when they go in June to play over in Europe.
Terahova to take the corner for Russia. U.S. set up zonally to defend this. They'll attack it. It's a great header there from a defensive standpoint from Alex Morgan. Terahova knocked it inside. The U.S. trying to win it back here into the 88th minute. 22,000 seat BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston, Texas. It's opened in 2011. Allie Long. Lynn Williams. Press trying to hold herself onside. Early ball might have been on. Williams goes out wide to Klingenberg.
Press wanted that ball in behind, and there's that space. She was lining up for that one. Williams didn't see it, but that was the clearly more dangerous ball.
Holoviega stepping in to win that. It'll get knocked forward here. Megan Oyster. Lynn Williams, a minute of stoppage time added here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tackled away here by Russia and Marek Makarenko. The U.S. is going to see this one out. And it'll be a comprehensive win here today against Russia. Lynn Williams coming on here in the second half, as well as Megan Rapinoe about to take this corner. Rapinoe. Grichenko punched it up in the air and then claims it.
And I think the other obvious positive they take away from this is this time together allowed them to finish the deal, the CBA. So that's 5 years you don't have to spend on that, because that's a lot of energy, boy. And not always the most positive energy, as we've seen. That gets frustrating. So to have that done and say, we can just play and focus on building the game and building our game is huge.
And again, the big opening weekend of the NWSL in its 5th year now will be this Saturday. Well, Julie, let's put a bow on this one and wrap it up today here.
I think that you look at all the different, besides the fact that it's not the competition that they saw, as I said last month, there's plenty of positives in that. You're seeing some of these young players emerge. You're getting some minutes in for Rapinoe, players like that coming off injuries. Klingenberg was another one.
Karpova caught Allie Long, who's battled industriously in midfield here today. And don't forget, coming up next, Orlando City SC is taking on the New York Red Bulls, as we'll switch it to Major League Soccer. And then on Friday, 7 Eastern time on ESPN and Watch ESPN, it's the Philadelphia Union and New York City FC and David Villa. Rapinoe. Morgan. Towards Rapinoe, broken up again by Russia. It'll be a mission accomplished here in some phases here for the United States. As Julie mentioned, players like Rapinoe and Klingenberg coming back off injuries. Competition has continued. The youthful energy has been added with Mallory Pugh and Rose Lavelle, who today gets her first ever international goal. And for Russia, it will be on to more preparation for the European Championships in July in the Netherlands. Rapinoe stands over this. Expecting a whistle here shortly from Karen Abt. Rapinoe curls it in. Makarenko. And that does it. 5-1 over Russia. The United States 2 goals today here for Crystal Dunn. It's a comprehensive win for Jill Ellis and company at BBVA Compass Stadium. There's your 2-goal score. Crystal Dunn. It's 5-1 the United States over Russia. They have beaten them twice in 4 days. It is time now to go to Major League Soccer. Orlando City SC against the New York Red Bulls. Here's Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman.